What's up everyone, MunchingOrange here with another Pokemon Sun and Moon news update video. Happy 4th of July to all my fellow Americans out there. Have yourselves a good time watching the fireworks and grilling steaks and whatever else people do on 4th of July. Today we're going to be taking a look at all of the information that came out over the weekend, including the official English reveal of the 7 new Pokemon that we saw in the previous video with their new abilities and more information updated. And thanks to the Pokemon website, we also have a sneak peek at some new features that are coming in Sun and Moon, so we're going to take a look at what those could be and what they could mean for the future of these games. Sounds pretty exciting to me, so if you guys are excited as well, make sure to hit that like button and let's get to it. So most recently we got a new trailer from the Pokemon Championships in Hong Kong showing off the Pokemon ROCKRUFF, which we previously knew as Iwanko from the Korokoro scans, but the Pokemon site has actually updated with the English names of him now being ROCKRUFF, and here he is with Professor Kukui. I'm not sure what's really going on, but I think it might be the intro of the games where he explains the world of Pokemon that some people play and battle with them. But it could just be a random video message from Kukui just showing off his little puppy, but this Pokemon is super cute and it's nice to have the official English name now, which is of course ROCKRUFF. It is a still rock type Pokemon, which I find a little curious, and there is of course that hint in Korokoro that apparently ROCKRUFF, along with the 3 starters of Alola, do have like a special connection to their trainer, which I still stand by my theory that it's gonna have something to do with the bracelet the character is wearing, but that is ROCKRUFF there. Pretty cute and cool Pokemon if I do say so myself. But of course there's also KOMALA, which was previously known as Nekawala, so now we have the official English name, which is KOMALA, as well as the official English name for his ability, now known as Comatose. So from what I can tell, this Comatose ability prevents any status aside from sleeping to be put on KOMALA, and it actually tells us even on the Pokemon site, the ability keeps it perpetually in a drowsing state. I'm not sure how it works, but basically we can't put this Pokemon into paralysis or burn or poison, basically anything but sleep. He can't do it. I don't know. He just can't do it. Look at him, always sleeping, looking so cute, and always hugging the log as well, which the Pokemon site tells us a little bit more about the log, which it basically uses as a pillow since birth, but if it loses it, apparently it can get very angry and throw a tantrum, so I feel like we can use this to theorize about an evolution perhaps, but to me it sounds like Vigoroth or Slackoth. You know, when it's young as Slackoth, very calm, then when it becomes Vigoroth it gets very angry, so I can kind of see something similar happening with KOMALA for its evolution, like somehow it loses the log and becomes very angry, or they can keep with the theme of the sleepy Pokemon, not give away that Comatose ability, though definitely have to wait and see. Of course, there's a lot more Pokemon to check out. Just the other day, 6 of them were revealed, not even including Tapu Koko, because Tapu Koko is huge. There's so much to talk about. I feel like he could totally have a video of his own, but for now, we're just going to discuss the new English details we've got about this Guardian legendary Pokemon. So Tapu Koko is known as the land spirit Pokemon, and it is electric and fairy type, of course. Now we know its official name of its ability is going to be Electric Surge. It also powers up his electric type attacks, which is why the trailer proceeds to use a non-electric type attack called Nature's Madness. Definitely interesting, but Tapu Koko's real mystery comes from how it's linked into the story of the games, and we really don't get too much details about this aside from on the Pokemon site at the very bottom. It says that Tapu Koko uses this to store up electricity, and it also appears to enter this form during other special times. So what the heck do they mean by special times? Well, I've heard a couple of people say that it actually looks like the head of a totem pole, and it would actually be pretty sick if Tapu Koko, along with the other 3 Guardians, came together to form a totem pole, but what purpose that would serve, I'm not really sure. Either way, let's move on and take a look at the other Pokemon revealed from the other day, starting off with Bruxish here, aka the Walmart Magikarp, who I totally went off on the other day. I think a lot of people just called this Pokemon ugly, but even though it definitely isn't the prettiest around, it does seem like a really interesting Pokemon, especially with the new ability it can get called Dazzling, which of course we learned prevents priority moves. So this is very interesting for the competitive battling side of things. We've seen a lot of priority moves always prevalent. I guess Sucker Punch, I feel like, is one of the ones we most often see. I think since X and Y, they've done a really good job creating new abilities and making sure they're kind of unique. And here, Bruxish definitely not disappointing, introducing this dazzling ability, which I feel like the ability itself is really interesting. So can't wait to see what else happens with it. Also learned that Bruxish is based off the official state of Hawaii fish, which is the reef triggerfish, and it happens to have teeth, just like Bruxish. I don't know if that's supposed to make me feel better about it, but Bruxish is beautiful on the inside, and that's all that matters. The next Pokemon on the list is Cutiefly, but I still don't really have much to say about this Pokemon, so we're gonna skip right over it and go to my favorite, Drampa, the Snoop Dragon. I really like this Pokemon in the reveal just because it had such a goofy look, and I always like those kinds of Pokemon, but now we learn a little bit more about him as well, and his unique ability, Berserk. I think in Japanese we called it Frenzy, but now of course it's officially Berserk, and when the Pokemon drops below half HP, its special attack stat goes up by 1, so can definitely tell from that Drampa will most likely be suited as a special attacker. We don't know its stats for sure, but although we don't get much more info on Drampa or whether or not it evolves or is perhaps an evolution of another Pokemon, we do learn that they like children and hang out with them at schools. That's cool. Even though Drampa is a normal type, I think that's the only thing it's got going for actually being an evolution of Dunsparce. And of course, we've seen since the 5th generation, there can be Pokemon that look really similar to another one and just not evolve from them for whatever reason. So I don't really see Dunsparce evolving into Drampa, but on its own, Drampa still seems like a really cool Pokemon, so can't wait to check it out. Now, kind of a surprise to me is Togedemaru actually keeping that name, but I guess beforehand we had Pachirisu, which also seems like a kind of weird name. Now we have Togedemaru joining the Pikachu rodent-like Pokemon. It is actually an electric and steel type, which I guess was hard to believe at first because it doesn't scream steel type, but I guess that body must be made out of something harder than it looks, and it also has those spikies that come out of it when it gets angry, or I don't know if it's angry or what, but those definitely look like they'd hurt, and it goes nicely with the Iron Barb's ability that it can pick up alongside Lightning Rod, which we can see its tail could clearly be a Lightning Rod. So one thing I noticed among this whole group of Pokemon, and I'm not sure if this was always a thing, but I feel like in Sun and Moon they're definitely polishing up on, is animations. They have really slight little quirky things they do while they're waiting for their next attack in battle or just chilling. All these Pokemon have a lot of personality, and that's something I really like. And of course that brings us to our final Pokemon with just so much personality stored in there, just waiting to burst out, but it never does because it's just a battery. Literally a battery. Even its ability is called Battery, which allows it to raise the power of ally special moves. What does that mean? The world may never know, but we do know that Charjabug does evolve from Grubbin, which then evolves into the amazing Vikavolt. So when I first saw Grubbin, I didn't think much of it until I read that it might become a Bug Electric type, and now it's confirmed, and oh my gosh, this Bug Electric type looks awesome. Like, I always liked Galvantula, but I think I might like Vikavolt a little bit better now. It's confirmed to have the Levitate ability, so it'll have no trouble with the ground type moves either way. It just looks so powerful. Even the Pokemon site describes it as a fortress that zooms through the forest, firing off beams of electricity from its mouth. It looks like such an awesome Pokemon, especially one that you can find early on. There's something about bug types, I've just never been attracted to them because you get them so early on and they tend to fall off later, but Vikavolt feels like he could keep up with the later Pokemon. Even if it evolves early, looks so powerful, and I can't wait to check this guy out. So I guess that's it for our refresher course on these new Pokemon revealed. We've got a little bit more details about him, but the fun doesn't end there because I told you guys there's a sneak peek at some new features, which of course includes riding Pokemon. Or at least riding Stoutland, because this is the only screenshot we get for this new feature coming in Sun and Moon. We see our character riding on the Stoutland with a helmet on through a canyon area. On the Alola map, this definitely looks like an area on the east coast of the final island. We see like this very barren area. I guess it's a canyon with some dead trees, and you can definitely see some dead trees in the background of the screenshot as well. So at first this made me think of when you get to ride on Mamoswine in X and Y, where it's basically one little gimmick route. You get on the Mamoswine and it lets you tear through the very deep snowy area. but although this was a gimmick, it was actually pretty fun just getting to ride on the Mamoswine. So I think in Sun and Moon, they're actually trying to expand on this, and we can even see that in the screenshot. The Stoutland seems to be wearing some kind of collar, and I don't know if that's just me, but it kind of looks like the character's holding a steering wheel behind him. So it looks like some kind of device they strapped onto the Stoutland in order for you to actually control where it goes. So it's pretty cool. I don't know if you actually get to free roam around on the Stoutland. I hope it's a little bit more than just riding on it like the Mamoswine, but of course we had riding Pokemon previously in X and Y, like on the Skiddo, and even on Rhyhorn for a little bit, so I'm expecting it to be kind of similar to that. Not really all around the Kalos region, but some kind of enclosed area where you can play around with Stoutland, which still seems pretty cool, especially that our character is wearing a helmet. I really like that, so maybe there will be some kind of Stoutland races or just Pokemon races in general. We just don't have enough info to tell, but just from this screenshot alone, the speculation can begin. So what do you guys think this riding Stoutland thing is all about? Is it just a little route, or is there going to be a mini game or something more to it? Definitely let me know, but that's not the end either, because we also have this interesting screenshot of Pikachu. Now, this is not an attack I've ever seen Pikachu before, and you guys can definitely correct me on that, but when has Pikachu ever shot a beam of electricity out of its mouth? That could just be the screenshot, but the Pokemon site specifically says, in the world of Pokemon Sun and Moon, you'll discover moves more powerful than any seen before. It's clear to me that that text is referring to this image of Pikachu, but what this attack could actually be is what's a little bit harder to figure out, because we can tell that Pikachu is glowing a little bit gold, kind of like a break card would in the TCG, or when he did the Thunder Armor with Swellow, but I don't think they're going to revisit that, so we're going to say it's something like the break cards instead, but even that seems a little far-fetched. I'm not sure that they would bring break into the games, and especially if it's just for one really powerful move. So could this have something to do with the bracelet the character is wearing? Of course, we've seen that has a yellow tone on it, so maybe it has something to do with synergy burst attacks or whatever this new thing they're going to reveal with the bracelet. We just don't know yet what that's going to be, but I feel like it's going to have something to do with these powerful attacks that the site is talking about, and you could take that as overhyping, but I feel like since it's in a new area, new feature sneak peek, it's going to be something big. The truth is, we just won't know until we get a little bit more info, but the Sun and Moon train has been going steady so far, and I believe there's even more coming very soon. So the final screenshot we get is of the character overlooking a forest. This looks really impressive for being Pokemon. We've got light shimmering through from above. We've got like ledges we can climb over here, even what looks like a slide, maybe a place you could crawl in through. So I'm not sure what they're trying to show off with this area. It does say it's a new feature, so I don't know if this could be some kind of like secret base kind of system or an area where you can go hang out with your Pokemon freely. I don't know why, to me it looks like there's a lot of areas for Pokemon to jump around and through. I feel like grouped with these two other pictures, this has got to be something big as well. This is an area called Sneak Peeks at New Features, so there's definitely some kind of new feature going on here. I don't think they're just showing off a forest for no reason, because it is just a forest, but there's a lot of forests in the Alola region from what we saw when I did the map discussion video, so this could be quite a lot of forests, and I feel like there's some special importance to this one that they're showing off here. So let me know what you guys think of those sneak peeks, as they're calling them. Do you think it's overhyping, or will there actually be an importance to all three of these screenshots we see here? Because at least with the Stoutland riding, it's not like it's something completely new that we haven't seen before, but it definitely looks like they're bringing a new twist to it, as well as this Pikachu attack. I think there's an importance to all three of them, so let me know what you guys think of them, as well as the Pokemon revealed now that we got a little bit more English info. But that is gonna do it for today's video. All the new info that we got right there. The only thing remaining really is the mystery of the legendary guardian Tapu Koko. So I definitely want to come back and talk a little bit more about him in the future, his possible relation to Magearna and the other guardians. There's just so much awesome stuff going on with Pokemon Sun and Moon. So hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.